Hey everybody, how's it going? Max with BuzzTox here, and I'm here with the live stream. I think I like this day. A couple hours before Game of Thrones, always we'll hop on, do a live stream. I'll answer all your questions. We'll talk Game of Thrones and geek out a bit before the episode airs. And I am very excited. A lot can happen in this episode, especially since it's the last kind of establishing episode until things get chaotic in episode 3. So I'm really excited to see what they're going to, introduce us to in this episode. But I think there's going to be a lot of significant plot points that they're going to be putting in that will really line up for the next couple episodes. So this is a pivotal episode. And you'll see that, during my review after the fact. And when I break it down, it'll kind of shape what kind of theories we can expect as well moving forward, because I'm sure, there's going to be a lot introduced. But yeah, let's go to the chat. See who's here. Coco B, how's it going? The Rust Lion, Nevada sucks. And Master says that the episode's been leaked. I don't know. Haven't heard about it. I don't know where to watch it. I'm watching it at 9 o'clock Eastern. So right after that, I'll be putting up my review on it, much like last time. And then, you can expect my preview. I want to know if you guys liked my breakdown. It was a long video, like 45 minutes. Really what the point is I like to go through the episode in its entirety. It's a good way to kind of watch it again, but look at all of the themes within it. And then we can kind of, you can predict what happens next, right? But yeah, also what I'm thinking about too is I want to create more videos kind of like the Night King. How, like the video I did on how to defeat the Night King, how to defeat Cersei. There's more videos that I want to do kind of geared around that. I want to do a how Game of Thrones ends, where I'm going to talk about kind of where we can see it, where we can see it going, what's going to happen with Cersei, what's going to happen with the Night King, what's going to happen with Game of Thrones. Is there still going to be an Iron Throne? Who will be sitting on it? Will it be a different type of hierarchy or establishment? Will it be more of a democracy? I don't know. And then I want to do like a who will die video. I think that would be a great video just before episode 3, so we can see who would die, who we think is going to die, and I can kind of dive into prophecy and what we can expect and things like that, right? But yeah, what else do we got here? Luke is saying hi from Scotland. What's going on? My family is Scottish, so I've never been there, but I'm Scottish. April says she loved the breakdown, which is great. Thank you. I'll do more of them. That one was a lot of work, just because it takes a while I basically have to watch the whole episode again and do all the notes. And then from there, try and, dive deep and see what can happen in it. One thing I was laughing about was the credits. When I was talking about the opening credit, and I like totally butchered the bangle where it shows basically the red wedding. And I was saying that I was diving deep into like the Night King and all that, and I was just totally wrong. I thought that was funny. The Rust Lion says the longer the better. They must take you so long to put together, though. Really appreciate it. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's good. I found that I just feel like nobody does videos like that. In terms of Game of Thrones, it's all about, it's a 5-minute video of like vomit. It's just kind of a quick theory, a quick thought, and then that's it. I thought it would be cool, and I was doing it for a while, is to really break down the whole episode scene by scene. And I think that way you can ensure yourself, if you're a big fan, you can watch it completely through and see all of the hints that we can expect, right? So I really like doing that. Vanessa races. Why didn't Arya show her cutthroat? Maybe it's useful for war. Her cutthroat, you're talking about her the blade that she got given to her from Bran. What's the name of it? I forget what it's called. You're talking about how she didn't show it to Jon. I'm not necessarily sure. I think she's going to be using it. We'll see her using it a lot at Winterfell, but I think she went to Gendry to design kind of a weapon like that where it's longer range. And I think that's what it's going to be. And we see her kind of fighting with it. It's like a stick. It could either be a unsullied spear that she's fighting with, or it could be the thing that Gendry made her. So we'll see what happens, because we just know that she trained with a stick. She basically learned how to do it when she was blind. So that's what we could see. Michael Rogers says Theon is the prince who was promised. Look, I like the theory. I don't agree. I think Theon would be the king of the Iron Islands. I think he's the character who's paid the iron price. That's why I felt kind of gypped when he just came in out of nowhere and rescued Yara, and it happened so fast, right? That's why I don't think their story's over. Yara right now is holding down the Iron Islands. A part of me thinks that, safe bet would be to keep Yara alive, which is good. But I think it's important to look at the duality between the characters. Theon is both a Greyjoy and a Stark. So I think that's really interesting. And here he saved his Greyjoy sister, and now he's going to go save his Stark family. But I think the perfect end for Theon would be him ruling the Iron Islands because he has to, because Yara doesn't make it. And he's the one character who has paid the iron price. So I think I would love to see Theon on that path. I'm going to be out of water soon. Master says that you want videos about the Night King. I'm open to suggestions, by the way. In the comment section down below, or right here, give me suggestions on videos. I'm open to them. I don't know what else to talk about with the Night King. You guys know how I feel about it. You saw my video on how the Night King will be defeated, and that pretty much sums up what I want to happen and what I think will happen, or what makes sense for me to happen. Other than that, he could become just a killing machine. But in episode 1, they showed us that, Ned Umber was in the spiral, which shows to me that he has a motive. He has a motivation that leads into everything he's been doing before. So I think it speaks to the importance of his character, and it shows that there's something that he wants, and there's something that he desires. And it has to align with the last reason he came south. And that just feeds into my idea that he's coming south because he was promised a prince, and that's the prince that was promised. That is the light bringer that brought peace back to Westeros. And that child is either going to be Jon Snow, or we're going to have a plot twist that Daenerys is pregnant, which honestly, in 5 episodes showing Daenerys being pregnant, I find it very hard to believe. But maybe he wants a queen. Maybe he wants Daenerys. She birthed dragons. Who knows? I just think some of the key things is that a child has to be involved. I think Jon is always the peacemaker between two sides, and I think he's going to be the key figure, that peace between the people and the White Walkers. Yeah, Big E, the opening credits is from the Night King point of view. Yeah, exactly. That's the one thing that I loved about it. It's coming south. And I found it funny because when I was watching episode 1 and it came straight through to the last hearth, I'm like, yep, they're dead. And then it goes straight to Winterfell, so that it's kind of showing his path. I am very interested to see what's going to happen after episode 3. I think we're all going to be thrown off guard. They haven't shown any promotional material or trailers after episode 3. So I don't even know what to expect. I just hope it goes that route. And we keep forgetting about the length of these episodes. Like, this episode is 58 minutes, I think, so it's not that bad. Episode 3, though, is an hour and 22 minutes, something like that. What's crazy about that is it looked like, based on the preview of episode 2, that Tormund is going to arrive with Beric, and they're going to tell Jon that the Night King's coming, and they're going to be preparing for the Night King. And I think it's very likely or possible that the end of this episode would be the Night King with the horse foot down in Winterfell, which would be kind of bizarre, because usually we're used to an episode that builds on the battle and then the battle happens. So that would be really unique. But you can't have a straight up battle for 120 minutes. That's insane. Like, I'd be impressed if they did a 20-minute or 30-minute battle. They have to fill up the rest with something, right? And I hope they fill it up with lore. I hope we see Bran go back in the Weirwood to try and find more information. I hope we see more character development. I hope we see more discovery of how to defeat the Night King and what he wants. And I hope we see more political drama between Jon and Daenerys, because they have to play their cards right on that. I think that's key. I love that story idea, and I talked a year ago in some of my old videos. Go check them out. But the coolest thing to me is Jon and Daenerys build this relationship, but they want the best for each other. They all that. But at the end of the day, power resides where people believe it resides. And it may force them in a position of where both of them have power and both of them are contending for the throne, even though Jon doesn't want to. And that's why a marriage is ideal, but we'll see if Daenerys even wants to. Angel Krutz, can't wait to see Tormund and Jon Snow meet, as well as Ghost and Jon Snow. They gotta show Ghost. Like, at this point, they have to. Like, we have to see Ghost, and I'm saying that with confidence, not because I'm a fan who feels like we need to see Ghost, but because the first episode of this whole series showed the boys and the Starks of Winterfell, Sansa, Arya, Bran, Rickon, Rob, and Jon. They all got their direwolves, right? And we have to see that the finish of that plot line. We have to see what happens to Ghost, because that's the whole. They've really butchered Ghost and they haven't really shown him around. So I think, honestly, if you gave him a good 5 minutes of screen time in the total of these 6 episodes, they could make right with what they've done. If they can establish that relationship and finish off that arc, then they're good to go. Ibrahim Kwan says, I think that the Night King wants someone to replace him necessarily, not someone to defeat. And I think I like that idea, and I've kind of predicted that sometimes. My one thing is that we've seen no evidence to suggest that the Night King wanted a replacement or has been replaced. The actor who was converted into the Night King is still the same guy who is the Night King. And he's come south. So I'm not sure. I think really what it could mean is it's a peace offering to ensure both sides are safe. Because I think the Night King, he seems like a weapon, but I think he's not human, but he's a person now who has his people that he wants to take care of. But yeah, I don't know. I just hope they dive deep into Night King lore. Citadet X says, why would Reed be featured? They set that up in the Tower of Joy in season 6 when we saw Howland Reed there present, and it got everyone speculating like Howland Reed is going to come to Winterfell and validate that Jon is a Targaryen, yada yada yada. I think that's too much for the show now. They haven't established Howland Reed enough. I think what's going to establish Jon as a Stark or as a Targaryen is going to be Sam and Bran, and really that's it. And I think that's what's going to push it. I think at this point, with this episode, we're going to see that the ball is in Jon's court, essentially. He knows that he's a Targaryen. He's going to be thinking about it. And if anyone's going to spread the rumor of him being a Targaryen, it's going to be him. And knowing Jon as a character, I don't think he's going to announce it. He's not going to try and take over anything. I think with Jon, he's going to do the honorable thing, and the honorable thing to him is to tell Daenerys alone. And I think that's why they're in the crypts of Winterfell. I think he breaks to her that he heard news that he could be a Targaryen. And I think Jon is also going to try and get a feel for her as a queen, because he's in a place where he now has a better claim. And Sam said it great. You put down your crown for your people. Would she do this the same? And I think what Jon is going to realize is that no, she won't. And I understand that she was at war when she burned the Tarleys, but politically, she shouldn't have done that. That was not a smart thing to do. And like I said, you got to think about the perspective of people in Westeros. This lady came across from Essos, started killing your people and taking your lands, and telling you to kneel, or else you'll be killed, right? So of course they're going to be mad, and that's why the ball isn't more in Jon's court. So just in terms. I think Daenerys will find out. I think she'll tell her council. That's why we see her in some of the trailers. She looks like upset, and she's like looking out of different things. She's looking out of a window. She's looking at a fireplace. She's looking at all these different things. And I think that's because she's dealing with that, reality that Jon's a Targaryen. I think she will tell Tyrion, he's the hand, and he's going to be angry because, like I went through in all my videos, politically, she is screwing herself. She let Jon ride her dragon, and that's where she holds most of her power. So now basically she sees Jon as an equal now. She's in a position where she has no power over Jon. The only power that she has is her armies. And that can be taken away. Maybe Varys conspires and ends up getting Jon the Golden Company under his name. So at that point, who knows? But but I just think Daenerys is making a lot of bad moves. I think Tyrion knows it. That's why at the end of season 7, Tyrion looked really upset when Jon visited Daenerys in her bedroom, right? Because there's a lot of political ramifications to that. She lost the power over Jon as soon as she let him into her quarters, right? So I think that's the big issue. And I think if Varys finds out, then I've talked about it over and over again, but that's a go for him. You know, and it was foreshadowed in season 7 too. Daenerys said, you know, if you feel like I'm failing the people, tell me, don't conspire against me. And I think Varys will. And I think that's why he's going to die in Westeros. I think he's going to be executed. And I think in the trailers, you know, when you see the dragon breathing fire and there's a black background, I haven't mentioned it before, but the reason why the background is black is probably because they CGI'd it out. They don't want us to see the background. And I think I'm going to be bold and say I think the dragon that's breathing fire is actually executing Varys. So we'll see what happens. Back in the chat. Oh boy, there is a lot to go through. Okay, let's see here. Ben's Brewing Co. I saw a video today making a pretty good case for Drogon being pregnant. Thoughts? Look, if I'm going to be honest, I think that is a prediction to get views or like just to get just to talk about something, right? I feel like some theories people just jump on because it's something to talk about and people want to talk about the show, right? Give me some examples on why that would be the case, but I see no evidence at all to even suggest that. And I don't see plot wise, what does Drogon being pregnant, how does that help the plot at all? What does it do for the plot? It doesn't, it has no meaning. That's what I'm like, you wouldn't write Drogon to have baby dragons for no purpose. And I think the plot doesn't need it. It doesn't serve the story and it has no function of being there. So I think it's just something that people jump on to talk about. But honestly, to be honest with you, I think it has no meaning. Do you think Jack and Agara will come back? That's from April. I don't. Even though I used to say that we could see the faceless people. Way back, I was always saying that nobody messes with the Bank of Bravos, and there's a reason for that, right? They are extremely wealthy. If you owe them money, you make sure you pay off your debts, or you'll be screwed, right? And I think obviously they're in good relationships with very high people. I think there's a reason why the faceless men are the house of the oh my gosh. You know, I can't believe I'm forgetting this. The Faceless Men House. I forget what it's called. I'm sorry. There's a reason why it's there. The reason why the Bank of Bravos is there and the reason why there's so much money in Bravos is because of the Faceless Men and how expensive their contracts are. And I think if the Iron Bank was owed money, they would send a faceless person to go and kill their target. I think that there's a relationship there. And I think that's how that would happen. In Cersei's case, it seems like she's on good ground with them. I don't think that they would send a faceless person out there. I think Cersei's demise has to be tethered to the valonqar and it has to have an emotional purpose. And that's why I think Jaime's going to be the one to kill her. But in terms of, faceless people, I think we're done with that at this point. I think it's going to be a much more personal story. Unless you could flip it and say that maybe one of Cersei's plans is getting a faceless person to go assassinate Daenerys. But it's unlikely, but who knows? They could send an assassin after one of these two characters, and that would be a faceless person who is being paid by the Iron Bank. So who knows? But yeah, I really think at this point they're kind of moving away from the faceless men. Ben's Brewing Company, or Co. Theon will die, right? Why else would he? Why else did he and Yara have to say goodbye? Yeah, okay. So why did he have to say goodbye? This is Theon's redemption story. He has to die in Winterfell. I think there's a 50-50 shot. I see it possible that Theon could be, you know, die in Winterfell. It makes sense, and Yara could be there safe and sound in the Iron Islands. I just don't like. I don't see that as effective as him going through everything and surviving and being the king or the Lord of the Iron Islands. I just think that's a better plot. I think Yara's been kind of handed off to the side, and I think, yeah, they that plot of her being taken was really rushed. So I think it is goodbye. I think one of the characters will die. I honestly don't even know what Yara's purpose will serve, because they're either going to go to Dragonstone to be safe, or they're going to go to the Iron Islands. I think it makes more sense to go to Dragonstone unless they want to avoid Cersei. But yeah, I would give it an equal chance that Theon's going to die at Winterfell. And I'm going to make a video on it, obviously detailing who I think is going to die. But Theon is a strong candidate. I think we'll have a couple of big characters go. It's going to be a big episode. And I think that's part of the reason why it's an hour and 20 minutes, right? We're going to have a lot of character building. We're going to spend some time with these characters, and then they're going to, you know, kill them. It's going to really suck. Brendan Jones, how many White Walkers do you think there is? A dozen or hundreds? I'm not sure. We know that there's about 12, because when they took Craster's baby and they converted it, the Night King converted it, there was like an array of White Walkers behind him, right? So I think there's enough. But what I find funny is that he travels in packs of 4. It's a very religious thing. So that's why I think the White Walker threat is bigger than we think, and that's why he's not somebody that you just fight and beat. He's somebody that you have to make a sacrifice to, and that's how you defeat the Night King is through sacrifice. Because I think he's too big of a threat. He's too big of a threat. He's been preparing for this moment to come south, and now it is time for him to come south, and he is. So, yeah, I think there's a lot. I don't know how many. I know that there's more than what we're seeing, though. Every time one of them dies, they're replaced. So there's always 4 White Walkers. Give me some time while I'm reading your guys' questions here. Oh, yeah, another question about the Drogon pregnant thing. I don't buy into it. And Rust Lion, thank you so much for your donation. Really nice of you. History of the Mad King video. Okay, I might consider it. We'll see. My one thing with the Mad King, though, is we only have 5 episodes left, and me talking about the Mad King, I feel like doesn't relate to the overarching plot at all, unless you want to look at like how it compares to Cersei or how it compares to Daenerys. But yeah, those are the key comparisons I would draw with the Mad King right now at this point. Still got one good eye. Bran is a witness to now. Helen Reed's importance is to do with the Isle of Faces, which is where I think he currently is. Could be wrong, probably am. Well, you know, if you guys watch my predictions that I didn't finish, I said that Bran had to go to the Isle of Faces. Because I think there's a reason why it's called the God's Eye, and it was almost perfectly made. It's surrounded by water. It's protection from the White Walkers, protection from everything else. And I think it's called the God's Eye because there's so many weirwood trees. It would almost like amplify Bran's power, and you would realize that Bran is not just the three-eyed raven. He becomes essentially the god under the God's Eye. You know, God isn't the red god. There's no old gods. There's no the seven. There's none of that. Really, there's only one god, and he's under a weirwood tree. And I think that would be a really cool interpretation of the show. Rebel. 2 episodes directed by Miguel Sapochnik. Third is the battle with the Night King, where Jon and co retreat. So 5, they'll face him again. We will see a battle with Cersei for the throne or not. Yeah, so Miguel Sapochnik, he's the guy who directed Battle of the Bastards and Winds of Winter and Hardhome. Those are basically the best 3 episodes of Game of Thrones, personally. Every episode that Miguel Sapochnik has directed has become my favorite episode. So, yeah, I got really high expectations for episode 3 and episode 5. Episode 3, we know it's the battle for Winterfell. We know Miguel Sapochnik, first of all, is great at character development, and he's also amazing at action. So he's great at everything. In terms of episode 5, we haven't seen anything on it, so we don't know. And it really depends on how episode 3 ends. The Night King can't be defeated in episode 3. That's ridiculous. So I think they're going to have to retreat. I think episode 5, yeah, it's going to be dealing with Cersei. I think the characters are going to be, our favorite characters are going to be put in between the White Walkers and Cersei. And I think Daenerys would have to make a rash decision. They may send, Daenerys is probably going to want to get on her dragon, fly in, and just kill her. So they can take over King's Landing and fortify it and fight the Night King. Whereas Jaime, I bet Jaime would be like, let me go in and talk to her. And I think it won't go well. And I think he'll end up, strangling her, fulfilling the valonqar prophecy, and then he'll end up dying too. But I think, yeah, it'll be hard for them to face Cersei because she has the Golden Company. She has Scorpion ballistas that can shoot down the dragons. She's got a lot of stuff. That's why I think the key thing with Cersei to defeat her is to take away her power, and that's really over the Golden Company. They can't go to war with Cersei because they'll just add more dead to the Night King's army. So Cersei will have to be killed, and there's going to have to be things put in place, Jon and Daenerys, or just Jon or just Daenerys, to take over the Golden Company army. I think the ground's been laid for it. Harry Strickland in episode 1 was not happy because Euron was just killing his men for sport. He doesn't support that. As far as sellswords go, they're the most honorable. So you have that. And I think they laid down the groundwork in episode 1 of them changing allegiances. I think one of the first things they can do, just like Jon did with the wildlings, they're exiles, right? As King Jon or King or Queen Daenerys, they could pardon them. They could give them lands to settle on in Westeros. That would be a good offer. I think they will support a Targaryen king or queen. And I think that's where I lean towards Jon Snow. I think Daenerys has her unsullied Dothraki. I think Jon will get the Golden Company, and I think they'll be loyal to him, and I don't think he'll have anything to do with it. I think it will be forced upon him, and I think it will create a very interesting dynamic between him and Daenerys. What do we got here? Ben's Brewing Co. says maybe the baby is simply Gilly's baby that was owed to him. That would be crazy if it was, honestly. Because the last time the Night King came south, Gilly's baby wasn't a factor, right? Or Craster's kids weren't a factor, or I think if you look for a solution on why the Night King is coming south, it has to tie into what we saw in the War for the Dawn. So we'll see. Yeah, so everyone's saying the episode leaked. So if somebody's seen it, keep spoilers out of it, please. None of us want to be spoiled. We're going to watch it tonight, and then we'll talk about it, okay? What do we got here? Angel Crit says 84-minute battle, largest in cinematic history. So I doubt it's going to be an 84-minute battle. That would be crazy. Even what I say is, a lot of people, that sounds good. It's like, wow, that's crazy. Like it's a really big battle, which is awesome. But the reality is that what's it called? Sorry, I lost my place. What was I even talking about? Sorry, guys. I'm like new with all this, all these comments. Holy cow. We have 417 people in the chat. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I think I lost that part of the chat. So I'm so sorry. I have to go to other comments. I'm so sorry. But yeah, I lost my place. I'm going to have to just start with this question. Very sorry. Just ask again. I'll get to it. Bubble Guy says the spiral symbols are black magic used by the children on the Night King. The Night King uses spirals. He wants the spell to be broken. Yeah, no, that's a possibility. I take it more as I take it less about magic and more about reminding people of why he's coming. I think that's it, the symbol. The reason why he decorates the symbol everywhere is because of what it represents. And I think there's a huge significance to me why he put Ned Umber in the middle of it. So I think that is very, very interesting, and I'm excited to see that. Carol Feller, I think Tyrion is Targaryen. Targaryen. There was a time where I was like dabbling in that theory. I thought that was interesting. What I'll say to that is, first of all, the show hasn't made any plot points whatsoever that Tyrion is Targaryen, and we already have that plot with Jon Snow. I think Tyrion's importance is more about building the better world after it's been broken and how to ensure that the wheel stays broken, right? Yeah, so I don't think Tyrion's a Targaryen. I don't think they've given us any information for that. And I think his role of being a Targaryen wouldn't really make sense for the plot at this point, because there's two dragons. The Night King is the other dragon rider. So yeah, that's what I think. Coco says Dany will not give it up for Jon. Sorry. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Daenerys is going to give up any power. And then that kind of raises the question, well, who are you to come in from Essos and call yourself queen and force your will upon everyone else? Because now I'm a more legitimate heir. And I think that's going to be a key issue between the two people, Daenerys and Jon. Because how do you even move forward from that? So I don't know. That's why when Davos was mentioning marriage, that's pretty much their only option. If Daenerys wants to do it peacefully and make peace with Jon, that would be the only way that they could possibly do that. And they might, you never know. Jessica Freeman says, I think Daenerys is going to lose her shit about Jaime and everyone will be against her. She'll show her temper and look like the Mad King. My thing, I talked about that in my preview video, and some people disagreed with me. I kind of think that that scene of Jaime, it's going to strip every character down to their core. From Daenerys' point of view, we won't see Queen Daenerys. We'll see a daughter of her father who was murdered. We won't see the hand of the Queen Tyrion. We'll see just a brother who's as his brother Jaime could be killed, right? I think it's going to strip down the characters to like the core of who they are. I think the key issue comes in where Jaime's saying like, screw loyalty, it doesn't matter, I'm here to fight for the living. And I think Daenerys, like what she did with Sam Tarly's family, is she'll need him to bend the knee. Swear fealty to me, you came here to fight with us, then bend the knee. And he's going to say no. And I think that's where the key issue is going to be. I think that was hinted at by Sam when he was telling Jon, you've let countless men not kneel, and you've kind of forgiven them, and you've done what's right to make peace. And I think that's going to be the key issue here. And yeah, so I think politically, Daenerys is putting herself in a really rough spot. Pork chop. Who is the Night King's target and why? I say it in my video. I think the root of the Night King, he's after a child or someone of Targaryen blood, and he's coming south for a very specific reason, right? He's either coming for Jon and Daenerys' child if they have one, or he's coming for Jon, because Jon is ice and fire. He is the duality of the two sides, and I think that's the key, right? The reason why in the War for the Dawn Azor Ahai was there to fight the Night King is because the Night King came south for Azor Ahai. I think that's the duality between the characters. You have an enemy coming south because there's a hero to face him. So I think Jon is going to play a huge role. And whatever role it is, I know it's going to bring peace between the two sides, and it's going to be a song of ice and fire, how the two work together. M&M's. The King sacrifice themselves together, ice and fire, to break the wheel. But the wheel is really the stories we tell ourselves over and over again. We forgot it's a lie. I think in terms of stories, I break it down all the time in terms of like religion and stories. I think they're interpreted differently. I think if you look at the Targaryen sigil, now it's seen as a Targaryen sigil. But I think that symbol was made because it represents the Night King spiral symbol. It represents the War for the Dawn. That's what it would represent. I think the story of Azor Ahai is an interpretation that people say to kind of talk up people and how they defeated the Night King. They built the wall. But then I think we'll realize that that's not true. The flaming sword he pulled from his wife wasn't a weapon. It was his child. And I think that's what we can expect. Daenerys is bringing communism to Westeros. Hey, that's one thing is I don't want to look like a Dany hater. Like, she does a lot of great things. My only thing is looking at the context of what's going on in Westeros. Like, she's done great in Essos. She should have stayed there because she's coming to a place that she doesn't understand. She's not prepared for, and she feels like she's entitled because of everything she did in Essos, but she's not. That's why I think it's going to be a big thing, right? Daenerys should have stayed in Essos, and yeah, if anyone's going to be a king in Westeros, it should be Jon. Kimilko Ringer says, Jon has never wanted power or the throne. The people want Jon to lead, and so he steps up. He does what honor demands of him. Dany says the throne is her birthright. Yeah, that's what I've always said. I think that's the key difference between the two characters. Daenerys is doing good things too because she wants to break the wheel. She wants to, but her idea of breaking the rule, if you want to look at it as more of a democracy, like Tyrion says it in season 7, the Iron one way, the Night's Watch have another way. How they elect people, right? And Daenerys wants to rule to break the wheel, even though her whole claim to being queen in the first place is based on the wheel. She feels like she has a birthright, but yet she's fighting to eliminate it. It doesn't really make any sense. And if you look at how she's acquired power, her heart's in the right place, but she stormed cities. She killed the slavers. She saved the slaves. She conquered the Dothraki by burning down their Dosh Khaleen, by burning down their temple, right? So it's that constant journey of her constantly fighting to get power. And Jon literally just strolls through and does Jon, and people elect him, right? So Jon is the representation of democracy, and he is literally the human embodiment of breaking the wheel. He's somebody who has the birthright, but yet he's never used it to attain his power. So I think that's one of the reasons why he's a huge character, and that's why I think he's the character to sit on the throne at the end, not because it's his birthright, but because people chose him to. So I think that's the key thing. And Melisandre says herself, whoever is Azor Ahai, or the prince who was promised, is going to be the one who sits on the Iron Throne or will be king. Whether you want to say that's the Night King or the King of Westeros, who knows? Someone says Mad King Daenerys. Nah, but she definitely has a learning curve ahead of her with the stubborn Northerners. Yeah, she does. I think what makes her, I think that's what makes her flawed. I think she's in a situation where she can't really do anything. I think everyone's against her. Nobody wants her as queen, and she's already messed up with the Tarleys, and I think she's way out of her game. And I think she's going to realize Jon is the better candidate for this, and she may have to marry because it benefits. She really needs the benefit of having Jon on her side. Someone says, I believe Melisandre and the Spider and their ties to Essos will ultimately play a huge role in the episodes 3, 4, and 5. Nope, I agree too. I think it's going to play a huge role. What Melisandre does and comes back with, I'm not sure. I made a video about Melisandre on about a year ago, and it's a really well done video. I kind of break down what her role is, and really that is getting Kinvara, letting them know about Jon Snow. I think right now she wants to take more of a hands-off approach because of how badly she butchered butchered Stannis. So I think she's going to let people about that. She feels like she's done her role because she brought ice and fire together. But little does she realize the person that she believed in, who's Jon, she didn't want to say anything, but she already had ice and fire all along because Jon is ice and fire, right? So I think that, it's going to be a significant role there. Um, Master says Tyrion is in love with Daenerys. Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think if anything, it's more of a father-daughter. Like, he respects her. He wants her to make the right decisions. He cares for her, but I don't think that has to be love. I think like romantic love. I think he loves her as a person, as he cares for her, right? So I think that would really be their relationship. Um, da, 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 da. What else do we got here? Oh, yeah, people are talking about the dragons. The dragon made a mating dance. I don't know. I don't know if there's any way to find that out. Yeah, I don't know. I can't figure what them having a Drogon having a kid would do with for anything, right? Yeah, I don't know. Could be wrong. He's gonna drop an egg in the Night King's head. Nice. Da, 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 da. Jack says, "Hey Buzz, great channel. How do you think that they will provide or prove to the North that Jon is a Targaryen and the rightful king? Because right now the only evidence is that Rhaegar and Lyanna were married." Yeah, I think Bran's got the books. He stole books from there that they can use as proof. They have Bran, if you want to believe Bran. They could also go to something physical. I know in the credits they were showing like Crypts of Winterfell is a huge part of this season, right? Maybe Rhaegar's harp is there. Maybe there's some form of physical evidence to support that. But I think there's enough on the table right now that they could believe that Jon is the proper king and is Targaryen. What else do we got here? Sorry guys, it's a lot of chat here. Holy. House in black and white. There we go. That's what I was talking about. Pork Chop asks, do I think Littlefinger's alive? Nope, he's gone. There's no point for him to be back. Yeah, it wouldn't really serve the story. And do I think Arya's gonna wear his face? No, I don't think it holds any weight. One thing I will ask, actually, guys, if you're gonna ask a question, do at BuzzTox so I can see it right away. Because right now it's hard for me to like scan through everything and find the question. So what I would say is just at me so I can it's highlighted and I can easily see it. What else do we got here? Eminem says, "Is the dead dragon a White Walker instead of a white? He touched it like the Night King touched the babies." Who knows? I don't think it really. I don't know. I don't think it necessarily matters. I just considered him a white. Just like how the Night King killed it with an ice spear, you could probably kill that dragon with a big thing of dragon glass, or you have to fight it, right? And I think we might, if that's possible too. We very well might see a dragon fight between, Jon Daenerys against the Night King, which would be crazy. So I just there's a lot that I'm forgetting about that we could see that will totally blow us away. Like we could probably see a dragon fight, which is exciting and yeah, very nerve wracking. So I'm really excited to see what happens. But in terms of defeating the Night King, yeah, you have to take away that dragon. So one way or another, it has to die. Yeah, people are saying episode 2 leaked and they just watched it. Do not talk about it. Yeah, keep it quiet. I don't want anyone to be spoiled. I don't want to be spoiled. I want to wait until it airs. What else do we got here? Edwin Kwan, I feel like the leader of the Golden Company will be a really good fighter and will kill another strong fighter in Jon or Dany's group. Yeah, no, that's possible. And there's still something that I'm on the fence about. We'll see what Cersei plans this episode. Golden Company, but like maybe she's very unpredictable. And they need Cersei to be useful in this show. So what if she sends the Golden Company north to go fight them, right? There could be a chance that in episode 2, they're not preparing for the White Walkers, they're preparing for the Golden Company. So I think that's another possibility. What that opens up is the possibility for Daenerys and Jon to kind of earn their trust. But yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, what else here? Yeah, Cersei kills one dragon before she dies. Very possible. I don't even know if any of the dragons are going to make it past this show. Yeah, who knows? Da, 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 da. What if Cersei dies of a miscarriage or something, and the little brother refers to one of her children, the valonqar? I don't think they would have it play out like that, because I just think when I look at a character, I look at its whole arc, and I think the first time we saw Cersei was with Jaime, and I think they built a strong relationship there. I think it would make sense if her character ends with Jaime. I think it's poetic. They always say that they shared a womb. They're twins, right? They came into the world together. I think they're going to leave the world together, and I think that's going to be their story. I think Cersei dying by just a write-in and plot of her being pregnant, I don't necessarily think that would be satisfying. And Vinny asks, what about the wildfire? And I think that is another big concept. And I was talking about that in what video was it talking about it in? Either my breakdown video or my episode 2 prediction video. But Cersei, Qyburn says in episode 1 that Cersei has other plans for Daenerys. And I think they constantly say that Cersei has an eye for poetic justice, right? I think her revenge on Daenerys and her plan on how to deal with Daenerys, I think it factors into how she's going to kill her using wildfire. I think in her mind, what better way to defeat this perfect queen who she feels threatened by, because the prophecy said that she'd be replaced by a more beautiful queen. Plus, Daenerys is supporting Tyrion as her hand. I think in Cersei's mind, the best revenge is to make this person who's trying to do the right thing and who is actually a pretty good person, make her appear and look like her father. And that's exactly the opposite of what she wants to do, right? So I think Cersei winning in that situation is putting Daenerys in a vulnerable position where she has to fly Drogon over King's Landing like we see in Bran's vision. She may burn some things to the ground, be seen as the Mad Queen, and Cersei would blow up the wildfire caches to get back at her, to hopefully kill Daenerys, to make her look, to temper her reputation. And at this point, she doesn't care, right? All the civilians that would die would be on her hands. Maybe she waits for when they're laying King's Landing to siege. If they do that in episode 5, maybe she's going to wait till all of our favorite characters are lined up in King's Landing and she blow it then. You never know. It would be kind of like the next step of the Sept of Baelor. So I think the wildfire could be used this season. Carol Feller says, who do you think will die tonight? I actually don't think anyone will. It's an episode that's going to be establishing plot points, and there's nowhere where anybody could die. So I think like the episode 3, 4, 5, 6, it's going to be a lot. I think 3, 4, 5, 6 is when we're going to lose our characters. I don't think any characters are going to die this episode. Yeah, Jon will convince the Golden Company to fight the Night King. I think so. I think he's been known to bring peace between sides. I think they're laying down the groundwork for Harry switching sides. I think yeah, it's about fighting the White Walkers, right? And that's what Jon represents. Daenerys right now she's still trying to be queen and force her will on Westeros during the White Walkers coming south, but Jon doesn't care. And I think, yeah, in order to do that, First of all, Harry will do it probably because it's right. He can support a Targaryen king, and probably because they promise him lands in Westeros. Um, da, 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 da. Hold up. Are people putting spoilers in here? Guys, if you've seen the episode, do not put in spoilers. I'm reading them and I'm like, that's awesome, but like, stop. So stop it. I already saw somebody say something about the Night King. So be careful in the comment section. Do not put any spoilers in, please. I don't want anyone being spoiled. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. What else do we got here? Everyone says that the Night King won't be beat on episode 3, but there are only 6 episodes. They could need the last 3 to tie things up, throne work and such. Oh, the last 3 episodes? No, I don't think so. That's a lot of content. For all of this, I think the Night King's going to be defeated in episode 5 or 6. And I think all you need is, I think best case scenario, we get like a 20-minute epilogue where we see kind of the ramifications and what happened after. So I think that's it. But yeah, like I said, everyone's talking about this thing. I'm going to be watching it at 9 o'clock. So right now it's 7. I'm going to be watching it in 2 hours. After that, I will be putting up my review and breakdown, which will be up at 12 to 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern. So it will go just like last week. What characters am I most sad to see go? Obviously, I'd have to say my favorite characters. So Arya, probably. I don't want to see her go, and I know I will. I know Arya's going to die. I'm pretty confident. Her brown eyes, blue eyes, and green eyes are going to be shut forever. And we know that she's going to see Melisandre. I think Arya is gonna, yeah, I think she's dead this show. I'll be sad to see the Hound go. If he does, I know that he has a very important role to play with the Long Night. That's why he's been kept alive. Every time he has an interaction with Thoros, Beric, or Melisandre, they see that there is value in him. There is something important for the Hound to do. So I think he's going to do it, and I think he's going to die. I'm sad to see. I know Sam is going to live. I'm pretty confident Sam's going to live. He's not a character that you would kill. I'm sad to see. Who else do I think is going to die? Like characters like Tormund. Like Tormund is actually one of my favorite characters. I'll be sad to see him go. I'll be sad to see Daenerys go. I'm pretty confident Daenerys will die. But then that goes against Cersei's prophecy that she'll be replaced by a more beautiful queen. But who knows? Maybe it'll be their daughter, Daenerys and Jon's daughter. Who knows? Or Jon, if Jon dies. I'll be interested to see that. That'll be the worst. Jon's my favorite character. But Jon already died before. I don't think that's in the cards for him. I think the reason why he's so important is not only because he's meant to defeat the Night King or help defeat the Night King, but because he's meant to build a better world, right? So I think if I were to lay down what I want to happen or what I think would happen is I think most people don't make it. And I think Jon and Tyrion as the Hand will build that better world. And they'll ensure that the wheel stays broken. Or Tyrion will be king. Because he'll be voted. I think Jon would be voted in and elected. I think Tyrion would be his Hand. I don't think Davos is going to make it. I think Davos is basically Jon's Hand. And I think Melisandre, I said it in one of my videos, that she spared Davos because he was needed. And he was. He's always in Jon's corner. He's trying to get this marriage going in episode 1, I think. But I think it hits a certain point where Jon is a Targaryen, the cat's out of the bag, and he's getting support, and Davos's role is no longer needed. And I think he will die, and he'll kind of come full circle. He lost his son. I think it'll hit a point where Davos has nothing else to fight for, and I don't think he'll make it either. God, my throat. What else do we got here? Wow, there's a lot of people. Holy, there's a lot of questions. Wow. Okay. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go straight to the people who say at BuzzTox, and I'm gonna go through it. I'm sorry, guys, I can't go through all these questions. I tried to do it. I tried to do it before when there was like 100 people in the chat, but since there's more than 400 of you, I don't even know where to even start. Okay, so I'll just start with the at BuzzTox stuff. Yeah, programmer video game says I need to have mods on this because people keep spoiling it. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I need to figure that out. I'm still new at this live streaming stuff with all these people, so yeah, I'll try and figure that out. Precious Noel says just one Stark will survive. It's possible. What I will say is Jon's not a Stark, and if a Stark does survive, it's Sansa. I think Sansa's going to be the one to live through this whole thing. I think, yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if Bran will make it because that's the debate on how they're going to end the show. Are they going to end it without like magic influence? Are dragons going to die out again? Is the three-eyed raven going to fade away? Bran die? Yeah, who knows? But I think if any Stark were to survive, I would say Sansa's the one. Da, da, da. Yeah. Oh, Antoine says, why did the White Walkers spare Sam? Yeah, did that happen in like season 3 or something? I remember talking about that, being like, he looked at Sam and he spared him. And I think I think that there is some significance there. And the significance is that, Sam is very important. Very important. And what's he doing now? He's telling Jon that he's a legitimate Targaryen. I think Jon or Sam, sorry, has a key role, and I think his key role would be, I'm from the belief that obviously the Night King wants something more. That's why he's leaving symbols, and Sam is basically the interpreter. He's probably going to help understand what the White Walkers want and why they're coming south after all this time. Aaron says, do you buy the Melisandre Nissa theory? I think I saw it on Talking Thrones vid. So compelling. I'll be honest with you, in terms of Melisandre's Nissa theory, I don't know much about it, because on face value, I don't buy it. I don't know. I think it's a theory for the sake of a theory. I don't see why Melisandre being Nissa is compelling or how it even makes sense for the plot. But watch me eat my words and me be completely wrong. I think if Melisandre's role is at all, Melisandre said she's going to die in Westeros. I think what they do is, we know in the books the kiss of life is a form of bringing somebody back to life. I think we'll see it once in this show, and I think it will be Melisandre. I think Melisandre will do the kiss of life, bring someone back to life, and kill herself in the process. So I think that's what would be Melisandre's role. Yeah, because her being that Nissa figure, I don't know. I don't see it as compelling. Old man Callie says, will Jaime live till the end? I don't think Jaime will survive in the end. I think he'll die in episode 5, because I think he has to deal with Cersei, and I think that's his arc. I think he's the valonqar. I think he's going to die with Cersei. I think they're going to leave the world together, because I think that's a story arc that makes sense. So, yeah, I think Jaime will make it to about episode 5. Who does Arya refer to when she says, I look forward to having your face? I think she says, I look forward to seeing this one. I could be wrong, but I remember her saying, like her seeing all these faces, and then she talks about the death, and she says, I look forward to seeing this face, meaning that, she's excited to see the White Walkers. She's being strong, and that's what I say about Arya. Like, she puts on a strong shell, but inside she's terrified or protecting herself, right? She's putting a guard up. And I think that's what we see with in the trailer when she's like running away from the White Walkers. Yeah, she's freaked out, and I think she's just saying that as a way to kind of like take out the make her look all tough and kind of hide that part of herself. Do you think Danny's gonna have to kill Viserion to get rid of him as a white? Yeah, that's for sure. I think Viserion has to die. They have to finish him off. And I think if she did it, it won't be like obviously it'll be sad, but it's almost like putting him out of his misery because he's being controlled by the Night King. So I think it'll happen quick. I think I hope we see Daenerys and Jon fight a dragon. That would be crazy. That would be unbelievable. But I think the key difference is I don't think Jon is going to jump on Rhaegal just out of nowhere. Like I think the battle will be so crazy and Rhaegal will come to him. I hope he has that moment where he closes his eyes and Rhaegal comes to the rescue. I hope Jon gets that moment. So I'm holding out for that. Ray says, I believe Tyrion and Sansa are still technically married. Do you think they care for each other? Maybe end up together? No. I think at this point, everything that's happened, I think it's safe to say that the marriage isn't even a thing anymore because the people who orchestrated the wedding are dead. And it serves no political purpose. It the reason their marriage was put in place politically no longer makes sense. It was to bring together the Lannisters and the Starks. And at this point, it doesn't even matter. So I don't think they're going to just rehash it out and bring it back up. I think that part is done. Do you think Viserion is a slave to the Night King? Danny always says dragon isn't a slave. No, I don't. I just think he's a white. I just think he's dead. He's you could argue that everything that the Night King has, they're slave to him because he could be warging into them, right? Um, so I don't think that's significant enough. I don't think we're gonna see the dragon just magically change stance and fight off the Night King. I don't think we're gonna see that. I think it's just something they're gonna have to fight. Oh my god, people are saying episode 3 leaked too. Man, that sucks. That really sucks. I was hoping that it wouldn't leak. Yeah, that really sucks. BuzzTox. Why is the Night King's army moving too slowly while they can run fast as hell? Yeah, true. I think because the Night King is more calculated than we think. I think he's moving at a pace because he needs to move at that pace to get what he wants. I think he's he's a green seer. When Bran goes into the Weirwood, he can see the Night King there, and the Night King clearly was after him. So I think he's traveling at his pace for a reason. What else do we got here? I read we see a battle between Rhaegar and Robert in Bran's flashback. Can it be true? Do you think we'll get it? George R. R. Martin said, we'll get to see and know about Robert's war before GOT ends. Sure. My issue with that is stop making Bran go back to watch Robert's Rebellion. Stop making him go back to watch more information on Jon's heritage. In my mind, it doesn't matter. Bran keeps talking about the fight for the White Walkers and how important it is to defeating them. So why are you going back and watching a battle between Rhaegar and Robert? That's not important. Why don't you go back to the War for the Dawn and see how he was defeated in the first place? That's important. So, if I wanted to see a flashback, I would love to see Bran go to the Isle of Faces and watch the agreement between the First Men and the children. See what happened with how they pushed back the Night King. See if Azor Ahai really did pull a flaming sword. But that in itself makes me angry because they should be doing a Robert's Rebellion spinoff, but instead they're doing a Long Night spinoff, which to me, the crucial part of this show should be understanding the Long Night. So them announcing a spinoff of the Long Night tells me that they're not really going to be diving into it, which kind of, I don't agree with. I think that's wrong. So I'm not sure. But everyone, take a quick 1 minute break. I don't know if you can hear my dog. He's barking like crazy. I'm just gonna go let him out, and then I'm gonna come back to questions. Very sorry about that. Yeah, I'll be about a minute, and then I'll come back and answer you guys' questions. Okay. Yeah. So I'll be right back. All right, we're good. Ooh. All right. Okay, Golden Company versus the Night King. I don't think so. The gear is not reinforced with dragon glass. They would basically be cannon fodder. More likely they'll switch sides versus Cersei. Yeah, that's true. But, it can't hurt fighting, having more men to fight with you. So that's what I think. What about Dario? Will he come back into play? Also, the rest of the Tarly men bent the knee to Dany. So she was more So she has more armies awaiting word, possibly for the quest for King's Landing. Yeah, it's a possibility. In terms of Dario's not going to come back. They retired his character. Him coming back wouldn't really serve a purpose. In terms of, yeah, the Tarleys, sure. I don't think she got many men to bend the knee for her, but that may play a point in the plot. We'll see. I think Sansa will live. Daenerys isn't a Westerosi. Jon is low key dumb, and Cersei won't be a satisfying ending. I think Sansa will live and might rule. Yeah, it's a possibility. I think Sansa at the end of the day will be at Winterfell. But yeah, I don't know. But she's the one character that I'm convinced will stick around. George R.R. Martin has said that Daenerys, Tyrion, Jon, Bran, and Arya won't die no matter what. I don't know about that. We'll see. I find it very hard to believe that we could have Daenerys and Jon both living at the end of this. I find that very hard to believe. Ray says they like my breakdown. Thank you. If anybody hasn't seen my breakdown, go check it out before episode 2 airs. Jay Sal, Bran will be holding Tormund as he dies. He'll say some legendary shit before he passes. Hey, maybe. Who knows? I hope. Yeah, Brienne's one of those characters. She could probably die too. Who knows? Tormund. I hope Tormund doesn't die because I see him as a character of almost like a fresh beginning. Like he's a wildling. Okay, I'm going to try and express why I think Tormund is important. And one of the reasons why I try and justify to myself that he won't die. And that's because he's the only wildling left that we have a face to. He's the only character that is a wildling, right? Which means, first of all, he doesn't support how things work in Westeros. He doesn't support people just claiming the throne for themselves based on birthright. He thinks that you should be elected. That's why they chose Mance Rayder. They thought that he would be a good leader, right? And I think him being in Westeros now, I would love him to stay in Westeros and make a life there and maybe start a new house because it will launch into the democracy side of Westeros. They'll break the wheel, and a wildling who is over the wall now settles in Westeros because he's able to now choose a leader. And I think that's why it would be kind of nice if Tormund lived. What else do we got here? Do you think Bran is looking at Tyrion again? That look Bran means something. Yeah. I talked about it in my breakdown video. I think Bran looking at Tyrion, Tyrion's an important character and he has an important role to play. When he was in season 5, when he was sitting on the stairs and the Red Priestess was preaching stuff and she just stopped and focused in on him, he's a key player. I hope they give his character more to do. He hasn't had much to do yet other than just mess up and be outsmarted by his sister. But yeah, I think Tyrion has a significant role, and I think his role, more importantly, is after the long night, after Cersei. His importance is after the Game of Thrones is played, and he's there to build a better world. BuzzTox, glad you finally moved out of the basement. Oh yeah, thanks. I miss it though. I miss the. I had like a nice setup. This is a little different, but I'm glad you like it. Um, da, 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 da. Will Will Jorah? Is that Jorah? Will Jorah kill a White Walker? Sure. I think a lot of characters could kill a White Walker, right? I think and Jorah is a character I'm worried about too. He might die as well. Yeah, I don't know. Does little Sam still serve a purpose in the story? Can you really see Jon sacrificing his own child to the Night King? See Jon sacrificing his own child to the Night King? I don't know. His whole thing has been to defeat the Night King. Like that's the most important thing to him. And one sacrifice is something that might be necessary. So I don't know if Jon would do it or not. What at that point, what's honorable? What's the right thing to do? And whatever Jon feels like is the right thing to do, he'll do it. In terms of little Sam, I don't really think he has any importance anymore. Yeah, that's just what I think. I don't think there's going to be anything else there. April Harrison says, do you think there's going to be a Clegane fight? I've been one of those people who kind of crapped on the Clegane Bowl. I just think it's fan fiction. I just don't really see it as important, and I don't think it's necessary. So I never really considered them fighting. And I don't know. I don't really feel one way or another about it. I just feel like it's not. I don't know. I just feel like it's not, legit. Varys is a Targaryen, shaves his head to hide silver hair. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. He was one of the lower born Targaryens who basically didn't have a claim. That makes sense because it makes sense because his key motivation is Varys always wants to choose who's best for the realm, but no matter what, he chooses a Targaryen. So for him, the best for the realm has to be a Targaryen, and then he picks the best out of that. So that would speak to where he comes from too. So yeah. Do you see them telling us who the heck Bronn is before the end of the series? I think he may be a bastard Stark. Bronn? No, I think Bronn's just a sellsword. I don't think there's anything special about Bronn. I don't think there's anything we need to learn about Bronn. I just think he's a character right now who has a hard decision to make. He has to choose between his friends or a castle. So we'll see what happens. Do you think the Night King is a Targaryen? Seeing as Targaryens are the only ones who can fly dragons. In this case, I think it's a little different because it's a dragon made of ice and it's in control. It's under control by the Night King. I think it's possible that the Night King is a Stark representing ice. And I understand that he was created before all of that, but they still have the blood of the Starks. So I think it could be a far, far-reaching ancestor of the Starks before the Starks were even a thing. He could be a Targaryen, who knows? But whatever it is, I think it has to line up with the motivation of him wanting a fire child or ice and fire or something of that nature. And I think if it was ice, that would be cool because it's the duality. Well, even looking at the Night King's character, he's the relationship between him and Jon are huge. They both have been dead. The Night King, dragon glass, which represents fire. That's the core of who he is dragon glass. And his exterior is ice. Jon is internally Targaryen because of his blood. He's externally ice because of how he was raised, who he is, how he identifies himself. I watched 2 and 3 now. I feel dirty. Oh no. Oh geez. People are watching these episodes. Ugh, that's not good. I'm like, ugh. I really am upset about episode 3 leaking because that was like that's supposed to be a big episode. Like I'm actually a little irritated about that. Um, yeah, that really sucks. What else do we got here? Do you think Daenerys will give up her throne for the people? At this point, no, because it's something that she's been after for so long. But I think it will take some time. But the best case scenario is she has a marriage to Jon, and that's that. But I don't think Daenerys is going to be the character who is going to make it out of here. What else do we got here? Okay, I will be right back. My dog is outside barking, so I gotta go get him. I will be right back. Not good. My throat's getting sore. All right. Let's see what questions we got. Okay, people are telling me episode 3 hasn't leaked. That's good. Okay, I'm glad episode 3 hasn't leaked. We got some hope. What else do we have here? Okay, good. So episode 3 hasn't leaked. I'm feeling better now. Jesus. Sorry. Oh. Jeez. Okay. All right, what do we got here? Yeah, somebody's saying it did leak. Only a small number saw it. Okay, well, that's fine. Yeah, they're just gonna go and shut it down anyway, so yeah, they'll take care of it. All right, what else do we got here? Sorry, guys, just looking for some questions. Will Bronn kill Tyrion? I don't think so. I don't think Tyrion's gonna die. I think Jaime's gonna die. I think Cersei's gonna die, but I think Tyrion's gonna live. I think in terms of Bronn, I think this is a part of Bronn. I think this is a part of Bronn's journey. He's been known as a sellsword. That's what earns his loyalty. But he built a good relationship with Jaime and Tyrion. I think what we're gonna see is Bronn kind of stepping out of that and choosing his friends that he's established over the sellsword part of him. And I think at the end of the day, honestly, that would be a tragic story. He decides to fight with Jaime and Tyrion, and he ends up dying, and he never gets his castle. But I think he will make the right choice. I think he will choose his friends over that castle. What do you think Sansa's role will be in all of this? I think to politically crap on everything Jon and Daenerys does. I think she's going to provide a lot of counsel with how to deal with Cersei. I think she's going to. I really want her to conspire with Varys. I want her and Varys to work together to solidify Jon's place on the Iron Throne without Jon even knowing it. I think that would be great. I would love that part of it, and it would be great for her because Jon would be king of the kingdoms, and she'd be able to. She'd have her brother on the throne, so she'd have power there, and she'd also have Winterfell. So I think it would play well for her. And yeah, that's another thing. Going back to what Braun said, Al Bundy said um, Tyrion during the trial, or during the what am during the White, when they were showing the White, he told Braun whatever Cersei pays him, he'll pay double. So that's another thing as well. Um, duh, 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 sorry, I think there might be spoilers in here. Mm-hmm. Sorry, guys. I think I might go for maybe 10 to 15 more minutes. My throat is killing me, probably because of all that smoke. So throw in some of your questions. Maybe I can get another live stream going another time. But yeah, this was a shock. Like, we peaked at like 400 people. That's a lot of people. So yeah, thank you everyone for showing up. But yeah, let's go through a couple more questions. Like I said, I'm gonna try and get to the bottom of this leak thing. I want to see what's going on, because I think that sucks that it leaked. So yeah, I want to have a look at that too. Um, what do you think might be most shocking scene today that no one is anticipating? Um, Man, I don't know. I would say if anything's shocking, it'll be maybe something we see through Bran. Um, that will be shocking. Or something that would be shocking is how John handles him being a Targaryen and talking about that to Daenerys. Um, I just think what I'm excited for mostly is the political ramifications of everything. I think the biggest shock is how Daenerys is losing her grip on everything. Um, so I think that's going to be the key issue that I'm excited to see. That Daenerys is going to have a hard time this episode, and that's something that I want to see. Um, da, 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 da. What else do we got here? What's the chance that the Night King bails with the dragon and goes to King's Landing? Um, the problem with these questions, I don't know if that is a spoiler or not. I don't know if people are asking questions on something that they know that they shouldn't. Um, but what I would say is, in terms of the Night King flying to King's Landing right away, um, it doesn't speak to motivation. What does he want? Why would he go to King's Landing? That part I don't understand. Um, so I don't know. Um, but yeah, if I were to make a guess, the Night King stays with his army. He wouldn't go to King's Landing. He would only go to King's Landing as he takes everyone as he's coming south. Um, yeah, and I think that's what the show will be at the end. Do you think they will escape from Winterfell by using secret tunnels to Dragonstone? No. I think they would maybe, yeah, use secret tunnels to get enough away, but I think they would have to escape by ship, whether it's they use Greyjoy's fleet, um, whether Yara's fleet is there, whether Euron, whether Theon has ships that can get them there. Um, but my one thing is, like Yara said, like, I'm gonna hold down the Iron Islands. I'm gonna hold down our home. I don't see that as useful. I just figure that they would just go to Dragonstone. But maybe they want to be away from Cersei. I don't know. But if they were to retreat, um, sure, they would go there. Um, but yeah, after that, after they settle themselves on the Iron Islands or Dragonstone, they got to plot how to beat Cersei at this point, because she has this job that isn't helping, and it's a threat because they all can be resurrected as dead, right? Um, so yeah, it'll be like Avengers. It'll be the end game essentially when they get through everything. Um, Yeah, how are they going to retreat from all those whites? Yeah, that was my one issue. I always said, like, all you have to do is watch my episode 3 prediction video. My one issue is I don't see anybody outrunning the Night King at all. It doesn't make any sense. That's why I wrote it like Daenerys was going south to attack Cersei. All the main characters were out, and basically the Night King came and killed everyone. Dolores Ed, Dolores Ed. I always say that wrong. Tormund, he killed all the members of the North who fought. Jon escaped on Rhaegal, and that was it. But the show, since they do traveling really fast, they're probably just gonna discount it and say Daenerys and Jon are gonna hold off the whites. One of them is gonna fight the Night King on his dragon. The other one's gonna fend off the whites, and everyone's gonna escape. And maybe that'll buy them enough time to leave. So I think that's how we see that play out. Da, 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 da. Do you think the Iron Islands is now under threat since they have mentioned the dragon on the Night King side? Before they mentioned they can't swim, but yeah, no, I know the dragon's a big issue. He can fly, he can just fly there now, right? But the key issue or the key thing there is, yeah, the Night King flies there, but he's alone, and I don't think the Night King would ever leave his army because it puts him in a vulnerable position. Why would he do that? So yeah, that's what I would say on that. But yeah, if anyone has a couple more questions, drop it in. Other than that, I'm gonna end the live stream relatively soon. It was really good. But yeah, I need to get something to eat. I don't feel good today. I've been sick all day. What do I think Arya's weapon will be? I think it'll be a type of spear. I think she learned how to fight with a stick in season 6 when she was learning how to be a faceless man. So I think she'll get a stick, and because in her mind she wants to keep a safe distance because she's afraid of them, right? So I think she'll have a long distance weapon. She'll use a stick, and she'll fight him off with a stick with a dragon glass tip spear. Um, I know at the end, Jon will fly his dragon besides the Night King dragon, and suddenly he surprises him like Ghost hitting under his coat. Nice. 9-month time jump. It'd be interesting if they did that. They did it with Melisandre. I feel like she got pregnant and had that thing quick. But yeah, I'm not sure. Leia asks a more technical question. Do I use OBS to live stream? No, I use Google Hangouts. Yeah, it's really it. It's just simple. It's what I learned, so that's what I use. That's pretty much it. I have OBS, but I don't know how to use it for live streaming, and I just haven't had time to learn. So, yeah, sorry I couldn't be any help. Might be a staff like harpoon. So you're talking about Arya's weapon. Might be a staff harpoon with the cat's paw dagger attached on the other end. Maybe possible. I just think it's going to be a big stick that's going to be able to fight White Walker. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, we'll see what happens this episode. I'm really excited. Yeah, I really hope those leaks get stopped because I don't want people spreading it around because people are like, everyone breaks the news and spoils stuff like that, which really sucks. And it kind of ruins speculation. It ruins the fun out of it, right? But yeah, I think that's really it. What I have to say about this episode. I think it's going to be very politically focused, character driven, and it's going to kind of lay everything out for the battle for Winterfell. I don't think anyone's going to die. I think it's just going to be kind of it's going to be a very interesting setup episode. So yeah, that's what I think. But thank you guys so much for your time. I'm going to take off now, but all of you enjoy Game of Thrones. I'll be back with a live stream next week and then a ton of videos before that as well. But until next time, I'll see you guys later.